In news that should come to no one's surprise, Caitlyn Clark took the exact same stance that she's taken every time a related story has come up in this realm. Of course, I'm referencing the WNBA investigation into alleged hateful comments from fans around the Fever and Sky game. I've already really said what I had to say about that, but here's what Caitlyn Clark had to say about that. And again, it shouldn't surprise anyone because it's essentially the same thing she has said every time. Chloe Peterson took this video, but Caitlyn met with the media today.
They're investigating alleged comments or hateful comments from fans towards Sky players. We talked about this in the past. Now it should be an inclusive environment. You want to speak on that?
Yeah, there's no place for that in our game. There's no place for that in society. And, certainly we want every person that comes into our arena, whether player, whether fan, to have a great experience. So I appreciate the league doing that. I appreciate, the Fever organization has been at the forefront of that since, really day one and what they're doing. So we'll, hopefully the investigation, we'll leave that up to them to find anything and take the proper action if so.
So Clark saying comments that really cannot be criticized. There's no way to criticize the comments. She was actually asked if she heard anything herself, something she weighed in on. And this is what Clark had to say.
It's super loud in here, although I didn't hear anything. I think, that's why they're doing the investigation. That's why they're looking into it. That doesn't mean nothing happened. So you just trust the league's investigation, and I'm sure they'll do the right thing.
As I've said over and over again, I didn't agree with the league putting out a statement before the investigation, and I hope the investigation is not related to random social media nonsense. But I said the same thing. I was there. Seemed like an ordinary game. I can't see and hear everything. And Clark handles it with class as always. Hopefully, but yeah, it's hard to say. It's going to be the case. This is the last time she's asked about anything like this season. But we have a little bit of a precedent to know it might rear its ugly head again in some way, shape, or form. I really hope the WNBA brings its investigation findings to the forefront, right? I think that would be very helpful in the midst of this. But, it's time to move on. I've said my piece. Obviously, Caitlyn Clark is almost always going to say the right thing. So then you get into the rest of the game and the contest. And one topic that was sort of amusing because a lot of people have been unable to deal with the fact that the Fever just flagrantly destroyed the Chicago Sky. And there's been a lot of tears cried online about it and coping. And the coping has come in wild conspiracy theories, including one, which is that Caitlyn Clark may have tried to check back in to help Dave Portnoy get a triple-double so that he could wind up winning his bet and getting a triple-double. He won $350K or something because Clark got the triple-double, and his presence courtside has been a topic of conversation. Of course, the people making these theories don't understand that you're not live betting on a triple-double. That's a bet placed before the game. And then there had been like stat padding allegations. Clark went back in to get the triple double. She's terrible. How could she do this? When Angel Reese was accused of stat padding last year. Now, again, the Angel Reese thing for me, that the only issue I took with Angel's stats the entire time, most of them were great and earned, was the game or two where at the end when there was, she's asking for the ball to get to a double-double when there was less time on the game clock than the shot clock. Just not something you typically see happen, but whatever. That's in the past. The stat padding stuff for Clark came up, it wasn't directly, positioned as whether she stat padded or not, but she was asked about going back into the game for the triple double, and she gave a teammate related reason for the decision, which was again, another testament to what she's about.
What's it like chasing a rebound when you have 20, 10, and 9 on the floor?
Well, I went back into the game to help DB get her, get her into third on the all-time scoring list. If you're watching the game, we were struggling a little bit there to even get her the ball in the half court. So I told Steph, I'm like, let me go in there. It's kind of driving me nuts on the baseline, not watching DB get this. Or on the sideline, not watching DB get this. So that was the main goal. And honestly, just getting to be on the floor and be a part of that, like such a historic moment of somebody that has given so much to this game and the league. But also, I mean, yeah, you can just feel the energy from the crowd. Like they're also just itching for it. And, that's not why you play. But I feel like that's the part of the game I take a lot of pride in. I want to be able to do a lot of different things for this team. And honestly, when I think I get the ball off of a missed shot, off the rebound, like I think it's other teams have a really hard time stopping us in transition, and I can just pitch it up to my teammates to find ways to put them in position to score.
So, when I talked to Caitlyn on Saturday after the game, I mentioned those get-ahead outlet passes, and her face lit up. So I just make a note when she says that there, because to me, that's a big part of her game and a big part of what she sees with Howard and Bonner and how they can help the team. But she's also paying respects to DeWanna Bonner right there. And I did want to make a note of this, and I did make a note of this on a piece for Indiana Fever on SI. But the narrative last year was about how the greats of the league were not appreciated and the pioneers of the league, and how the people that built the league should be appreciated. And I think DeWanna Bonner obviously falls into that category now that she's third all time in WNBA scoring, on top of the lengthy list of accolades throughout her career. And you can see what she's brought to the Fever here, where she's got a veteran presence, a defensive presence, length and size, versatility, moxie, all sorts of things that you would want from a player of her caliber. And of course, it caught some people by surprise when she did sign with the Fever, but now she gets to have her career appreciated by this huge fan base. And it was appreciated in that moment at Gamebridge, and Clark pumped up the crowd, and it was a cool environment. But it's basically been thrown in the garbage and pushed to the side by mainstream media since then, which I find slightly ironic considering all the push to recognize those who came before, right? Like DeWanna Bonner falls into that category. So I think there's two noteworthy things about what I just played for you. One, let's not forget to mention what DeWanna Bonner did and what she achieved and how great her career has been and how much she's going to help the Fever. And number two, that Caitlyn Clark is so respectful towards her, reveres her, and is, sacrificing in a sense as a teammate for her. Not sacrifices is the wrong word, but you understand what I'm saying. Trying to elevate her as a teammate, making sure she gets her achievement, making sure she gets recognition and appreciation. Because it was Caitlyn, pumping up the crowd there too during that moment of what Bonner achieved. It's something you could see. Hold on, let me find the clip of that real quick, because it was cool to be in the arena for it. And I could see from my vantage point Caitlyn pumping up the crowd. And I don't think everybody realized, obviously, in the moment what had happened, because not everybody was checking the all-time scoring list, in real time. But then you see everybody get pumped up. You see Caitlyn get pumped up, and you realize what had actually happened and transpired there. And this was it. The moment, the celebration, and Clark saying, "Get up on your feet." So a lot of obviously fans saluting DeWanna Bonner, Caitlyn Clark saluting DeWanna Bonner, her teammates saluting DeWanna Bonner. So you just want to make sure that moment, that achievement is not forgotten. And also show that image, of the vast majority of the fans in the arena showing love to a player on the Fever.